Happy Friday, everybody. I wanted to jump on here. I posted earlier in the week, Ask the Author, and I just sort of put it out there to ask if there was any question you wanted to ask me, what would it be? And I got 2 questions, so I wanted to answer them. I answered one on Instagram. One was a little bit longer, and it looks like the person deleted it. I guess they thought that maybe I didn't know how to answer the question. But I actually wanted to answer it live because it was a really good question, and just not something that I could just do a quick answer like the other question. So I'm going to answer the first question first, which was Lorraine, who asked me that question, if I'd ever co-authored a book, and my answer was no. I've never co-authored a book. I've been part of an anthology, which was an interesting experience. Not necessarily one I'd do again, but I would definitely be open to co-authoring a book. I guess I just haven't really found another author that writes similar to me that we have that kind of relationship with. But you know, I'm open, so you never know what can happen in the future. So the second question, because it's not there, I can't really read it out, so I'm going from memory. But the person was saying that they, and this is Carissa, they are better at listening and reading, and how do they transition that to writing? And I think, like anything, it's really about doing it consistently and creating it as a habit, because writing is really like a long-term, what I call a long-term journey. Some people are just naturally gifted. They're prolific writers and they just will write 4 to 6 books a year. Kudos to them. That is not me. So I would say, Carissa, that if you want to write, don't get discouraged if you're starting and it's not sort of going how you hoped. You're not writing as many words. That's all part of the journey. That takes time to build that habit of writing a lot of words and more words, and what to write, those kind of things. So I would just say, if you are really passionate about writing, is to maybe start with something that you enjoy talking about, so that it makes it easier to write about, until you start to build that habit, or create like a time every day, every week, on the weekends, whatever works for your schedule, to write consistently, and just say, hey, at this day, this time, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to write. Doesn't matter what I write, I'm just going to write it. I know some authors who journaling helps. Just everything and anything that comes to mind, it kind of gets those creative juices flowing. For me personally, I like to, if I'm sitting down to write, I like to think 5 minutes beforehand, what am I going to write? Who am I going to write about? Who's going to be in this scene? What are they doing? Where are they at? And sort of play it out in my mind first, so that I get those juices flowing before I sit down. Sometimes I will take a few minutes and actually just, do a quick summary of what I want to write before it sort of flies out of my head when I'm actually writing. And that kind of helps me to write more words, me personally. So that's kind of what I do. Some writers like to listen to music that helps them to, drown out the noises in their head so that they can focus on just writing. Some people like silence. Some people like writing outside. I would just say to, create a habit and then just sort of try different things until you find what works for you. And sometimes that could be one thing. Sometimes that could be 2 or 3 things. Sometimes it could be different things at different times. So the most important thing, I think, is to not get discouraged when your writing doesn't go the way that you hoped or the way that you planned, because it is a long-term journey. And beating yourself up is not going to help that journey at all. So if you have any other questions, post them in the comments and I will be happy to answer them. And thank you guys so much for answering or asking those questions and just letting me get to know you and you getting to know me. That's really what I want to do this year. All right. Have a great Friday. Bye.